Hey there, I'm Jill Allen, and this is Find Your Fierce, the show designed to help you discover your inner strength and unlock an unstoppable mindset that will completely transform how you show up every day. Each week, I will share methods and strategies to inspire you to step into your greatness and live life with purpose. Join me on this journey to becoming fit, fierce, and unstoppable. Hey there, and welcome to episode 198 of Find Your Fierce, your go-to podcast for unlocking your best self. We're deep into our Wellness Unplugged series. We have explored the purpose of movement and breaking the sugar spell the past couple of chats. And today we're diving into this fascinating world of gut health with episode number 3, Gut Feeling. And joining us once again is Joann Wig. And if you missed last week's episode where Joann helped us tackle sugar cravings, definitely go back and give it a listen. She is a certified CrossFit Level 2 coach, the owner of Outer Belt Athletics. And I got to say, a gut health expert who has transformed her own health and is now empowering others to do the same. And guys, if you have not known this, our gut, it's truly the command center of our well-being. And so we're going to dig into this and discover how we can optimize it. Welcome back, Joann. How are you?
Good, Jill. How are you?
Good. I do want to say before we really dive into this is, guys, we are not physicians, we're not doctors, we're not nutritionists, we're not dietitians. We're just two dedicated health and fitness coaches who have spent years of researching and understanding the impact of nutrition and basic gut health. And so our goal today is to shed some light on this issue, raise awareness that it can be overcome, and inspire you to make some crucial changes in your nutrition. And I know that Joann and I, we both believe that by making these small nutrition changes daily can definitely unlock the path to a healthier and more fulfilling life. So I kind of wanted to put that in there before we dive in. But yeah, so how are you? Welcome back.
I'm glad to be here. I'm passionate about this. You know that.
Yep, I love it.
Leading people to live their best life. That's my purpose in this world. So I have been diving into this, like you said, for years and trying to figure out how I can better optimize my own health. And it all started for me back when I just wanted to perform better. I was competitive and I wanted to do increase my fitness, I guess you could say. And by researching these things and to improve my own fitness and my own competitiveness, I discovered that you cannot out train a bad diet, right?
Yeah.
And we live under this misconception that I can eat whatever I want today because I exercised. Nope, it doesn't quite work like that. What you put in your body matters just as much as how many calories you burned.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and I love your journey through this. I know last week you shared a little bit about your story, how, you were training, you were doing all the things, you were having alcohol,
uh-huh.
the processed foods, the sugar, all the things that we just unknowingly sometimes do because out of habit, out of social environment, the foods that we buy. And I just loved how you totally transformed and then you up leveled again and then you up leveled again. And that's kind of what we're doing here today is, okay, we tackled our fitness. We are, going through the sugar. Now we're really diving into how our body operates and the importance of gut health.
And what those things do to the gut. Everything plays a role in our gut health, from what we put into our body, what we put onto our body, and how we treat our body. Exercise does play a role in gut health as well.
Oh, I can't wait to get into this. The buzzword is all about inflammation, the stresses that we put on our body, the stresses that we have internally as well. I know a lot of times when we think of stress, we think about external circumstances, maybe our job, the things that are going on in our family. Maybe it's a loss of someone, the stress at work, things like that. But a lot of the stress is what we put in, well, in our body, the foods that we eat and causing the inflammation. I mean, can you talk a little bit about what is inflammation?
What is inflammation? Inflammation is a response the body has to different stressors. It creates inflammation in order to combat what the stress that the body is under. So chronic inflammation would be things like if you were super gassy all the time, that'd be an indication that your gut is inflamed, right? if your shoulder aches from exercising, you have a lower back pain, all of those are signs of inflammation. You can have an achy shoulder or an inflamed shoulder because of working out, but if you have symptoms of poor gut health, that's contributing to that because there are bacteria and chemicals leaking from your gut into the body, causing that inflammation to flare up.
Gosh, okay. Okay. So it's not just a buzzword. I mean, this is a real thing. I mean, can you say, I mean, I don't even know the percentage. I mean, we're probably all inflamed.
We likely are. If you drink
I don't want to
alcohol,
say
you definitely are.
100%, but
No, we can't say 100% because there are people that are not. So, the presence of certain bacteria that's in the gut that's associated with the inflammatory molecules, those bring about inflammation in various bodily tissues. Inflammation underlies many chronic multi-system conditions, including obesity, type 2 diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease. Inflammation may be triggered by structural components of the bacteria, which can result in a cascade of inflammatory pathways involving different cytokines. So if you're a person that drinks alcohol daily, right,
mhm.
that alcohol is not only causing issues in the gut, right? And once the gut becomes inflamed, it starts releasing some of that bacteria. That bacteria travels to all different tissues in the body. So you take a drink of that beer, you may feel bloated or gassy later, but that's not all it's affecting. It's also affecting other parts of the body, including the brain.
Mm.
So headaches, frequent headaches, right? That's also a sign of inflammation. Stress is a big cause of inflammation because your body creates extra cortisol. Cortisol is a stress hormone, which also contributes to inflammation.
And then, okay, so chronic inflammation,
Yep.
long term, every day.
Yep. That's inflammation that has escaped the gut through what's called leaky gut.
Okay.
So the gut it's the most permeable organ we have in our body. It's also the fastest organ that can renew itself in the body.
Okay, so there's good
So
news.
yes, there is good news. It
This
can
is
heal
good.
itself really quickly if you treat it right, right? So it doesn't take long. It doesn't take long to mess it up, and it doesn't take long to get it back to where it needs to be either. It's all about how the bacteria that's residing in the gut, because we all have bacteria. We want a normal balance of healthy bacteria in the gut because it's such an elastic organ and it's so permeable. Holes in it, otherwise known as leaky gut,
Mhm.
are can come on very quickly. And that once those holes are formed, you're going to think about the inflammation is because you have bacteria that exists inside your gut that is waste. And now that waste is known as bacteria is floating around inside of your body. I don't want that stuff hanging out in my shoulder. I don't want a headache because I have bacteria coming from my gut wreaking havoc in other bodily systems. If you have another symptom of inflammation is mucus, right, in your face, you have that constant postnasal drip. That's also a sign of inflammation.
You know, I know research is really coming on strong these last,
Yeah,
I mean, 10, 20 years. I mean, we're starting to see evidence of that and the strong correlation of what's in our gut. I mean, obviously, someone who is lean and fit, healthy, they probably have a completely different makeup of the gut than someone who is obese and very unhealthy.
they can still be inflamed though. I mean, to be thin and athletic doesn't necessarily mean
Hmm.
that you don't have symptoms of leaky gut or inflammation going on in the body. And that would come down to stress from working out can cause those things too. So
Oh,
overtraining. We talked about it a little bit last week. Artificial sugars
mhm.
cause inflammation. So yeah, you can be an athletic person and still have symptoms of all of this. If you eat healthy, you can still have symptoms of inflammation, right? Because of other stressors that are going on in your life. You have all of your nutrition on point, but still
Have.
have symptoms of this. Yes, yes. So some of the symptoms, do you want to talk about those?
Yeah, I do because I mean, I think we just chalk it up to maybe old age or I had a workout and I'm sore or we're not seeing the link between all of it. So yeah,
Yeah.
what are some of the symptoms?
So let's go scientific for a second, right?
Okay.
Our intestinal barrier is a semi-permeable membrane. It's single cell thick. These cells are held together by tight junctions. Those are appropriately named, right?
Yeah.
When functioning normally, the barrier lets certain things in, are digested micronutrients and macronutrients, and it helps keep certain things out, like undigested foods, microbes, toxins, etc. The gut is the most regenerative organ. We talked about that already. If our gut is
Mhm.
healthy, it will replace itself every 3 to 7 days. When I found that out, that blew my
Wow.
mind how quickly you can recover this thing, right?
Okay.
Leaky gut is a proposed condition that says this loss of integrity, it's a loss of integrity of the intestinal barrier. And it might let unwanted substances into the bloodstream. And that's what's linked to dysfunctional absorption, inflammation, and immune responses. So our gut is about 70% of our immune system resides in the gut. Now, if you have an issue with leaky gut, okay,
Mm-hmm.
oh, you're not eating the best food, you're drinking alcohol, and you're sick all the time, right? I have an
Yeah.
upper respiratory infection. I have a gastrointestinal flu. You know, there's a whole nother podcast about, germs we could talk about. But I think I talked about this last week. Our body's like our church, right? And if
Mm-hmm.
you're providing all of this bad stuff into your church that God gave you, that you're messing up your immune system. It's not, your immune system isn't going to function at an optimal level if your body, because your body can only do one thing at a time. So if you're feeding it crap food and alcohol all the time, it's not going to be able to detox itself because it's trying to heal itself at the same time that you're providing it with this nasty food or alcohol or what, or if you're under
Energy goes there.
yeah, I mean, if you're
The
under an
focus is
incredible
there.
amount of stress, that will do it too.
Mhm.
So the body can't, it can heal itself if provided the right support. So that evidence has proven that the immune system is linked directly to the gut. But it's not just a healthy gut function that affects the immune system, it also affects mental health. I like to think if I put crap food in, I'm going to have crap thoughts, right?
Mhm.
Because
Yeah.
how do you feel after food is an addiction, right? It is for many, many people. And the most addictive substance on the planet is sugar. And it does change the chemistry in the brain. We do crave these things. Now there can be a whole multitude of other issues going on, underlying conditions that also contribute to the cravings and those kinds of things. And we can dive into those at another podcast if you'd like to.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
if your body's leaking bacteria into the bloodstream, that bacteria is going right to the brain. That's why it affects the mental health as well, because you have these bacteria that healthy gut function, hormones, neurotransmitters, and these factors are released from the gut and are known to send signals to the brain, either directly or via autonomic neurons. So it's not, I like to think of my gut as it's smarter than the brain, right? The brain's there for all of our autonomic responses and to store information, but the gut it's really the powerhouse of the body. That's what's driving your overall health.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I've heard, or I've even called it it's our second brain, but it's feeding
Yeah.
the brain brain. The big
The big
brain.
brain.
Yeah.
The big brain. Yeah.
Okay, this is so good. I want to hit this home really. I want to stress this. It can be healed within 5 to 7 days. It could start healing. Three
Three
to
to seven.
seven. Three.
Three to
Okay,
seven.
that's even better. Okay.
Our intestines shed their own lining and heal themselves every 3 to 7 days. Now, that means that you're going to have to be
Right.
providing it with good support, right? So before we jump into how do we heal it and what kind of support, let's talk about some of the metabolic, the immune, how sugar disrupts that microbiome, your immune function, and
Yeah,
that
let's do
leads to
it
those
because
metabolic
I know this is
disorders real
just like
quick.
again, we're diving deeper into what we did last week. I think that's great. Go for it.
Yeah. So sugar eliminates the filamentous bacteria that exists in the gut. It has a protective Th17 cells, and they disappear. Those Th17 cells disappear as a consequence. They're immune cells. They produce molecules that slow down the absorption of the bad lipids from the intestines, and they decrease intestinal inflammation. In other words, they keep the gut healthy and protect the body from absorbing pathogenic lipids. Good morning, Maverick. Sorry, my
Good
puppy's awake.
morning.
Good morning, Maverick. Go outside. So that's the symptom of leaky gut, right? So if you're eating sugar and it's destroying this bacteria, well, then what needs to happen once, or what will happen once that good bacteria is destroyed? A bad bacteria is going to take over, right? And it's going to outnumber the good bacteria and destroy those cells. Those Th17 cells are the cells that you need to have in the gut in order for it to repair and
So
heal
to put it
itself.
in like everyday terms, though,
Yep.
I mean, are we talking like the microbiome? I mean, because that's a
Yep.
buzzword too.
Yep.
You're hearing all of that. And so what role does that play?
The microbiome, we're going to get into that here
Yeah.
next. So,
Okay,
so
good.
the presence of certain bacteria that's associated with the inflammatory molecules, we talked about this a little bit earlier. The inflammation underlies many chronic multi-system conditions. That includes obesity, atherosclerosis, type 2 diabetes, inflammatory bowel disease. Those that happens through the leaky gut. Mild bloating, gas, indigestion, reduced motility. That means you're not going to the bathroom as often as you need to. One key thing to think about there, as far as motility goes, if you eat 3 times a day, you should be having 3 poops a
Three.
day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, and there are so many of us that maybe go, if we're lucky, once a day.
I've
We
met
think
people
it's
that say,
great
I
if once
haven't
a
pooped
day.
in 3 days. I'm like, how?
How does that happen?
How does that
Yeah.
happen? And so if
That's a
you
red
are,
flag right there.
it seriously is, because where's it you ate? Where's it going? It's not disappearing. That means your body's storing it. That means you have rotting food in your body that you're
Yeah.
not passing. That's dangerous. So severe IBS, leaky gut, SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth. So what factors can disrupt these things? Sugar isn't the only thing that impacts the gut health, right? Seed oils,
Mhm.
such as canola oil, peanut oil, sunflower oil, vegetable oil, grapeseed oil, those can all disrupt the gut microbiome. Antibiotic therapy destroys your gut microbiome. Real quick on that, I have read research that has shown one antibiotic therapy can take the body years to recover from. Years. Okay.
Yeah.
So if there's somebody that has,
That's a wake up call.
it is most things, and then whoever's listening can fact check this. Most things can be healed without an antibiotic. They can. The body is a self-healing machine and can heal itself from many, many things. Now, there is a time and a place for certain things, but your everyday cold, strep throat does not require an antibiotic in most cases. Most of the time we run out and we go to the doctor because you have it's an inconvenience is what it is. To be sick is an inconvenience. But if you're eating healthy and you're treating your terrain, right? Our bodies are terrain with all of the good things, you're less likely to have those things, which is you're less likely to have to go to the doctor and get any type of therapy that would help heal you, right? While those destroy the pathogens, it also destroys all of the good bacteria that exists within the body. I read another study that, and it's because there's a gut mind connection, antibiotic therapy leads to symptoms of depression.
Mhm.
Why?
Yeah.
Because it's destroying the good gut bacteria.
Well, and our thoughts
Yep,
and the way we feel, what we're thinking. Yeah.
exactly. Excess cortisol in our systems breaks down the gut barrier. So cortisol, it breaks it down because the use for fuel. So instead of repairing itself, it's using the stress hormone. Alcohol, processed food, toxic products that you either clean with or put on your skin. Gluten, dairy, soy, eggs, coffee, caffeine, grains that aren't soaked or sprouted, nuts and seeds that aren't properly soaked or sprouted, and oxalates. Those can all cause symptoms of gut inflammation or leaky gut. Here, while I'm sitting here drinking my cup of coffee.
Well, and that, yeah. And, and I think that goes back to being human. It's just it's the everyday stuff. I mean,
It
for us to be
is.
aware and make these small changes of what we can do. Because I don't want to, I mean, sometimes I don't want us to be in fear, but at the same time, is like, I want this to be a wake up call, as in, okay, wait, there's a connection here. So what is it that I can do to start that healing process in
Yep.
3 to 7 days. So I love that
Yep.
list of symptoms, and hopefully we can see the connection, and hopefully it will inspire us to enough to take that first step in doing that. So can we break it down even more into the microbiome?
Yeah. So common causes of some of the intestinal permeability, otherwise known as gut issues. So food sensitivities or inflammatory foods. Those could be, each person is different. We could dive into or touch on it a little bit. Inflammatory foods such as, we hear a lot of people that say they have a gluten they're sensitive to gluten,
Mhm.
right? It's not a gluten allergy. If you were truly allergic to something, you wouldn't be able to, you'd have a different type of response, right?
Yeah.
So to be sensitive to certain foods and modern food, this modern American diet has caused all of these food sensitivities or inflammatory responses in the body. I mean, it's the way that, I'll just real quick touch on this. It's in the way that things are like grain now, it's in the way that it's milled. When you mill flour, or when you buy milled flour or a bag of flour from the grocery store, it is not milled the way that it used to be. Everything that is good is removed from that flour, and the only thing that's left is the gluten. Well, if it doesn't have any of the other nutrients in it, what does the body doesn't know how to break that down? That's where the sensitivities come in. Same with milk, pasteurized milk. It's not the milk that's the problem; it's the
Mhm.
pasteurization that's the problem. The body,
The numbers of, being lactose
and it's,
intolerant. Well, I remember being
yeah,
in elementary school and no one was lactose intolerant. I think a kid that, and it blew my mind, he wasn't allowed to have cheese.
yeah.
And so when it was pizza day at school, I remember he got his own Domino's pizza without the cheese. And it just really, and now one out of what, I don't know the exact number, so I don't want to say how many people are lactose intolerant
Or have a food allergy or something
and that
like
have
that.
a food
Yeah,
allergy. Yeah, yeah. So
I remember
it's, I know things aren't the same.
they're not the same. And as parents, I remember my parents bringing treats to school for us to share with the classroom, and you can't do that anymore unless they're store bought with a label on them
Yeah,
because of the
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 amount of
students that,
allergy.
yeah, the allergies that the other kids have. Some other causes of, or known causes of intestinal issues: stress, nutrient deficiencies. If you have, let's say, SIBO, which is small intestine bacterial overgrowth, if you have that, you're not going to be able to absorb nutrients because you have all this overgrowth of bad bacteria that's going to prevent you from absorbing things. Adrenal
So
fatigue.
even if we put good stuff,
Yeah. If you have an
our body's not
overgrowth,
going to.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Or
Um,
supplement.
or supplements. Yeah, I mean, how many people take supplements and still eat like crap? It's
Yeah.
you're putting a band-aid on the problem. That's not going to fix you, and you're not going to absorb. You may get, depending on your motility, right? You may get a little bit of what you're supplementing, but you're not going to get the full effects of the supplement if the gut is not healthy.
Right.
So adrenal
Uh,
fatigue, toxic overload. So toxic overload, like I said earlier, the body can do one thing at a time. It can either detox and heal and repair itself, or it can try to process this stuff. If you have gut infections such as parasites, because we all have them, right?
mhm.
Just despite what anybody wants to believe, parasites are a thing. We don't live in a third world country, and you don't have to live in one in order to have them. They exist. If you eat sushi, you have parasites. If
Ah,
you eat, and I know, right? If you eat pork, you probably have parasites, right?
if we
It's
what?
just, if you eat pork, you probably
Oh,
have parasites. I,
oh,
I know. I love
yeah.
bacon. I love
Gosh.
bacon. And
Okay. Huh.
candida, so that's a big one. Candida, so that's yeast, right? So symptoms of, for if somebody has bad acne, right? That is overgrowth of candida in the body, and
Mm.
other bodily systems that are lacking a detox. But that's,
Oh, I know what I want to ask you. Okay, when you're talking about the skin,
yeah.
the differences and acne and, things like that, I heard, and I don't know, I mean, I haven't fact checked it, or, the bumps on the back of arms.
Hmm.
I did hear that that was related to the amount of gluten. Like if there's a gluten sensitivity, am I just making this up?
No, you're not making that up. And I think that
No.
that has to do with the way that the body processes the gluten.
Yeah.
So
I just don't know if it was another indicator.
yeah, it is another indicator that you have an insensitivity to the gluten. Quick fix for that. And I know you've been on this bandwagon. Sourdough bread.
I
It's
know.
amazing.
Yeah, it is. I mean, these are the small changes
Yeah.
that we can begin and doing that. Gosh, I okay, you mentioned this about the concept of the gut brain connection and how it ties to mental health, emotional well-being. Is there anything, I mean, that we can kind of dive into that a little bit more? Because this isn't just with adults. I mean, even with kids,
Hmm.
I think about, what the kids are eating and what the mental health status is among this generation. I mean, do you think there's a connection there?
Absolutely. There's a connection there. I mean, we're busy, right? We're busy. What's
Hmm.
the quickest, easiest way to get your kids fed, right? Run through a drive-through, something processed, throw it in the microwave. I read a study a couple of days ago where children are being put on blood pressure medicines and statins and you know being diagnosed with early onset diabetes at such a
Hmm.
young age. And it's the modern American diet is creating modern American disease, and that modern American disease is happening younger and younger and younger. And these poor children are going to be lifelong pharmaceutical customers. Once you are placed on a medication, you're on that medication for life, usually, unless you make a lifestyle change.
Right, to where the medications can be adjusted, which is a good thing.
Right. And come off of them completely. The trouble is the damage that happens to the body in the meantime while they're taking them. We talked a little bit last week about the statin. If you think about a 9-year old who has high cholesterol and they put them on a statin, what comes next, right? If the diet isn't changed and they're taking this medicine, diabetes is next because a statin destroys the kidneys. And again, fact check me on that. But it's it does. It destroys the kidneys, and these kids are going to grow up with lifelong health problems and will not have the same quality of life that they could have had with proper nutrition.
Yeah. Nutrition is everything. It's such a critical piece in all of this that I just heard that can be changed that we have control over to a certain extent.
Yeah,
It's something that, I mean, the nutrition piece we have control over once we break that sugar addiction and then begin that healing process.
right.
This is
It,
encouraging to me. I know we're talking about all the negatives,
yeah,
but it can be reversed, it can be flipped.
and it's very easy to do it. All it takes is just a little bit of work. That's all. A couple of other things to touch on. Food isn't the only thing that can destroy the gut. There are other things that play a big factor into it that people don't talk about, right? And we don't have to go into, you know, a deep dive into this, but these are lesser known or recognized causes of gut issues. Emotional trauma, non-native EMFs, so that's radio wave frequency,
Okay.
blue light exposure. I'm sitting here in my blue light blocking glasses. Not only
Yeah.
do they help you get better sleep, but they also help heal your gut because the eyes aren't exposed as much to the blue light. Natural sunlight deficiency. Not a lot of people get outside in the sun anymore. We're all inside in the air conditioning where you're happy and, cool.
Right.
Get outside. Dental infections, root canals, mercury fillings. Let's see. Mercury fillings. I want to have mine removed. I have a couple of mercury
I don't even
fillings.
I mean, I don't even think they go that route anymore.
No, I don't think
Or at least
so
the
either.
ones that we go. I mean, at least the ones that we go to.
I've had the same mercury fillings now for most of my adult life. I don't remember how old I was when I got them, but
Well, it's the toxins, it's the chemicals, it's again everything that we put in,
mm-hmm.
what our food is made up of,
Right?
and what we put on our skin, all the way down to the laundry detergent that
Abs
we use.
Absolutely. Or things that you smell, right?
Mm,
That's another,
yeah. Oh, little car things.
like the car things,
Um,
candles, anything that's an air freshener,
yeah.
breast implants. Those
Mm,
can wreak havoc on your immune system and your gut health. Mold,
yeah.
the MTHFR mutation, it's a genetic disorder, causes high level of homocysteines in the blood. It makes you vitamin deficient, basically. So you're not able to, you have low levels of folate and other vitamin deficiencies. It's actually pretty common, that genetic disorder. So those are just lesser, not as common things that people don't think about. We think about, I'm eating this and I'm eating that. Well, but if you also have this going on, so, say you're somebody who has breast implants and you also drink daily. Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
you're really doing your body a disservice to its overall health.
Yep, I was just going to ask you, let's flip it and say, what can we do? What are there any specific foods that people should include in their diet to help support this gut health, to help, I'm going to have to manage inflammation. I mean, that's
Yes.
something. So where do you go from here?
Where do you go from here? So specific foods and these are somewhat easy changes that you can incorporate on a daily or weekly basis. Personally, I don't do these things every single day,
Mhm.
but I do them often. When I was healing my gut, I did them more often than I'm doing them now. I'm at a maintaining stage in my journey.
Okay.
So, bone broth.
Ooh,
Why? Because it has a lot of collagen in it.
collagen. Yep.
Collagen, not only is collagen good for your skin, but it is good for your gut health because it's so permeable, right? And
Yep.
it's elastic and it needs that support, just like our skin is permeable and it's elastic. So that's why collagen is such a good thing for the body. Fermented foods such as sauerkraut, kimchi,
Kimchi.
sourdough bread,
Kimchi. Yep.
those have bacteria in them that go in and that bacteria likes to eat the bad bacteria and to promote healthy gut, right? Some symptoms of eating, if you ate some fermented foods, you might be gassy. Why would you might be gassy? Because the bacteria is doing its job. It's going in and it's cleansing your gut, and you have to release that, right? So that is a symptom of an unhealed gut that is trying to heal itself,
Yeah.
right?
It's changing up the system. It's the way
Correct.
that it works. Yep.
Elimination, right? It's eliminating bad bacteria. Kombucha is a
Mm,
good one.
yeah.
I make ginger soda in a similar fashion than you make kombucha by fermenting ginger. I actually prefer it. The process is faster, but all around my house. If I could show you everyone a video of all of the ferments that I have sitting around. I have sauerkraut brewing over in one corner. The other day I had beet kvass brewing over in another corner. I have my ginger bug brewing over here and my sourdough starter over here. So my kitchen and dining room are full of ferments.
Oh, I love it. Something simple too, that I encourage is, in the morning. This is something
Yes.
that maybe you could do to replace your coffee, is just warm the water and lemon and fresh ginger.
Yes.
I
That
just something to wake up the gut. So,
wake up the gut. It helps flush out toxins.
hmm.
I do on an empty stomach every morning. I drink what's called Soleil.
Okay.
So that's just saturated salt water. I take a tablespoon of that Soleil and I dump it into a glass of water and I chug that when I take my supplements.
Yeah,
It helps boost the metabolism. It helps flush out excess fat. It helps get the gut moving, and it also hydrates you because you're drinking the sodium with it. So
that's good.
um,
That's good stuff. What
something
else?
else. Well, what else? Apple cider vinegar right before a meal increases digestion and reduces blood sugar
Okay.
spikes. So if you eat something that sourdough bread will do the same thing. So, or can do the same thing. Both apple cider vinegar and sourdough bread have been known to help a diabetic reduce their numbers. The sourdough bread, because it is fermented, if you eat a meal that has a high glycemic index, so something that's loaded with pasta or something like that, the sourdough bread, because what do ferments eat? They eat sugar. You can lower the glycemic index of the meal that you just ate by just eating. That
Mhm.
doesn't mean go eat sourdough bread every single day
Right.
because in everything in moderation, right? But it can reduce that sugar load to reduce your overall glycemic index of that meal. Another good this isn't very common, but something that someone can think about if they like it. Aloe.
Okay.
Aloe can replace the lost mucus that's associated with gut damage. So
To
by
ingest
taking
it?
that, ingesting aloe, yes.
Okay.
Now I would make sure, just like anything else I purchase, it would be organic. You want to make sure that it's been organically grown without pesticides because glyphosate, we haven't touched on that at all.
Yeah.
An important step for everyone listening, switch all of your products to organic. You have to. And or make sure that you read the label, and if the label says organically grown without the use of pesticides. We have a huge glyphosate problem in this country,
Mhm.
and glyphosate does contribute to inflammation and leaky gut. It's a chemical, and it's dangerous, among other things that it causes.
Farmland. I mean, it's loaded. That's how we mass
Yes,
produce.
yes. Some herbs, some natural herbs or supplements if anyone's interested in marshmallow root, licorice root, slippery elm. Those can all help repair the wall of the gut and the junctions to soothe it and protect it. It tightens the junctions in the gut.
This is really good. So I want to add in just some practical everyday, like, I mean, there's so much that you have shared here today. How can we wrap this up as in what can they do today
Yep.
to begin this healing process of just 3 to 7 days, guys?
Yes.
Three
Try
to
to,
seven.
first thing, well, I said practical ways switching out, right? Switching to organic.
Okay.
Try to avoid sugar. Incorporate sourdough bread. That's homemade sourdough bread, and I know that not everybody has time to do something like that. But if you
Farmers
know
market.
somebody who,
Yep.
farmers market, Keller Market. If you know somebody who bakes sourdough, ask them if you can buy a loaf. And sourdough only lasts for a couple of days because it is fresh from the oven, right? It doesn't have any preservatives in it. So you can keep it in the refrigerator, it makes it last longer.
Mhm.
Or keep it in the freezer and just cut a piece off whenever you're wanting to have some. Fermented foods several times a week or several times a month.
Okay, so that
Sauerkraut,
doesn't necessarily, you don't have to have sauerkraut every day. We're just talking
no, no,
street.
you don't want to, and you probably
Yeah.
wouldn't want to have sauerkraut every single day.
Yeah.
But there are other ways to, you could have, if you're going to incorporate a fermented food on a daily basis, switch it up. You got sourdough one day, you're drinking a kombucha another day, you're doing sauerkraut another time. Those are all different kinds of bacterias that all work together.
Okay.
Without looking it up right now, I wanted to share something else that I do here. We only use raw milk. There's a stigma on that, and there is some misunderstanding and that people think that raw milk is dangerous.
Well,
It
I've been
is
talking
not.
to a lot of people that are actually making, I know more people who now drink raw milk.
Milk, yeah.
Yeah, like it's really becoming, I mean, I think people are educating themselves on some things. So, yeah, go ahead and dive into that if you want to touch base.
I always thought it was weird. Like growing up, I always thought it was weird. Like we're the only species that drinks another species milk past infancy. I always thought that was weird, right? And it was because my body didn't like to tolerate pasteurized milk, right? So whenever I would drink it, I'd feel bleh, and I just didn't feel good after drinking it until really deep diving into the benefits of raw milk. And because I wanted to explore making my own cheese and my own butter and all of these things, so I started researching it. I am part of a herd share, and
Okay.
I get 3 gallons of raw milk a week, and we don't use everything. I mean, I make cheese and I make butter and I make yogurt and all of these good things that they really don't take a lot of time at all to make these things yourself. A couple of hours on a Saturday or Sunday, and you've got a fresh batch of mozzarella cheese and some ricotta cheese, and it doesn't that sound delicious?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, it
These
does.
are the things I look forward to for winter.
Wow.
But I also ferment my milk. Okay.
Mhm.
So I'll take a half gallon and let it sit at room temperature for a few days. The curds will separate from the whey. Okay. Raw milk doesn't go bad, it evolves. because
Okay.
there's natural bacteria that exists within the milk that prevents it from spoiling. Raw milk does not spoil. Once the curds are separated from the whey, then I pour it off. Sometimes we smear that curded whey or that curded the curds on bread, on a piece of sourdough or something like that. I use the whey to make my sourdough in the place of water. There
Okay.
is a bacteria. Without, I'd have to look it up in order to tell you exactly the name of the bacteria. But there is a bacteria that exists within that fermented whey or that fermented cheese that is the only bacteria that can survive our gut and heal it. The other things help improve by adding those bacteria to the gut and help eat those other ones. But this one will go in and it's almost like like if you took an antibiotic and you needed probiotic therapy, this would be an excellent probiotic therapy because it's going to do the job right now. It's going to survive. The gut bacteria isn't going to kill it, right? It's going to thrive in there and prevent the overgrowth of the other stuff. Pretty amazing, huh?
It
It's
really,
like God knew what he was doing or something.
yeah, I know. It's funny how that works out. I mean, I've watched your journey. I mean, seriously, you have anti-aged. Your skin looks like a teenager. I mean, it really does. I mean, I know you do put a lot of work. You're very passionate about this. You're helping other people, get on the right path. I mean, it's just amazing. I mean, I love it. You've shared so much with people, and I know so many people are listening to this, and I think they're going to get fired up to make some
I
different changes in their life. So I can't thank you enough.
I hope
Um,
so. I wanted to add real quick,
yeah.
getting outside
Oh, yeah.
and getting natural sunlight, exposing your abdomen to the sun
Hmm.
helps increase the natural bacteria also, right? That's free. That's free and it's easy,
Oh, yeah.
right? You just go outside, pull your shirt
Feel
up and
good.
let your stomach, yeah,
Yeah.
let your stomach be exposed to the sun because the warmth of the sun will help that gut bacteria grow, and that's the healthy bacteria that wants to grow.
Oh, God. Okay.
You asked me about hydration,
Yeah,
right?
well, yeah, and I always say shoot for the gallon and have our chug sessions. I'm going to assume that hydration plays a critical role in gut health.
It really does. It really does. Well, it helps motility, right? We have
Yep.
to be hydrated in order to go to the bathroom. However, you can, if you're just drinking water without any electrolytes in it, filling up a bottle full of tap water, excuse me, spring water has more nutrients in it than tap water. Tap water has nothing but chlorine. You want to make sure that you're hydrating with a little bit of sodium. Adding it, I like to use flake salt. I get mine from a company called Crucial 4. It's Icelandic flake salt. You can either put a flake on your tongue, under your tongue, or just sprinkle a little bit in your water and drink that while you're. I fill up this big jug
Mm-hmm.
and I'm drinking my water throughout the day. Because if you're just drinking plain water, you're actually dehydrating your tissues and your cells. By adding the sodium to it, the sodium helps the cell open, so it will absorb the other minerals like magnesium and potassium, and it helps facilitate hydration better because that's what our body's made up of. The water inside of our body isn't like the water that you drink. It's more of like a gel like substance, right?
Hmm.
So you have to be hydrating it with minerals in order for it to hydrate efficiently.
Okay, that's good to know. What's the salt that you use?
Crucial for,
Okay.
I do have a discount code. If anyone's interested, it's just Joann10,
Okay. And you go to, is what's the website?
crucial4.com.
Okay. There you go, guys. And that's all for today's episode on gut health. If you're ready to take control of your health, balance your blood sugar levels, and support your hormones, and would like a little one on one support, be sure to check out the 5-day reset. It's all for the gut, and our new GLP-1 enhancer, and the must have sculpt for the amino acids to help maintain your muscle mass as we age. Guys, I have been partnered with Modere for the past 5 years, and I am obsessed with their game-changing products. I'd love to help you get started on this journey. Head on over to modere.com and use the code FITANDFIERCE, all one word, to grab your savings and enjoy free shipping. And if you have any questions or need more guidance, please reach out to me. I'm here to help you break through and achieve your health goals. And I've got to say, if you haven't already, check out my book, Set Free and Set Fire. They're available on Amazon. Be sure to tune in next time as we ignite your day with some serious insights. We're continuing our Wellness Unplugged series with a deep dive into women's health and menopause, featuring a special guest expert who's sure to bring valuable perspectives. It's going to be an engaging and informative episode, so I know you don't want to miss it. Stay tuned for more. And if you enjoyed today's episode, subscribe to Fit and Fierce to never miss the next drop, the next chat. Leave a review and follow us on social media at Hike, Live, Explore for more wellness tips and updates. I would love it if you could share this episode with friends and family who might benefit from a fitness boost. Thanks so much for being here. Until next time, remember, be fit, be fierce, be unstoppable. See ya.